Welcome, Canes fans, to the Six Rings Canes show. This is Jazz Santana, joined by Danny Gillette and Paul Austria, waiting on the fashionably late Jock Givens and maybe even David Eversole. What's going on, fellas? How you guys doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Chilling.
Good, man. Good. Yeah. Kind of some tough news coming out of Miami Hurricanes camp. Well, the ACC in general, obviously a big mix up there going on. But before we get to that, thank you to I don't give this guy enough credit either. He hops on the show every once in a while too. Manny Chang, producing the show. We appreciate it, my brother. Thank you so much, and and of course to the Five Reasons Sports Network, Five Reasons YouTube channel, and Ethan Skolnick and the bunch. Thank you guys also for allowing us to do this as well and talk some Miami Hurricanes football, man. So, but enough of that. Let's get right down to it, right? We are going to recap Miami, Virginia Tech. Tough game on the road in Blacksburg. Pulled it off, which was huge. So we'll get into that a little bit. And also talking about the biggest deal that's going on right now. Miami had to reschedule two football games, including Georgia Tech and I believe it's Wake Forest for later on in December because of significant COVID-19 issues on campus and with the football program. According to what Manny Chang has told us, he's heard, right? Obviously, it's not set, word the actual word, but we're hearing that you have to have 30 or more, I guess, positive tests or contract tracing has to be more than 30 people for them to have to reschedule a football game and kind of do all of this reshuffling. So the ACC kind of said, all right, guys, we'll go ahead and we'll reschedule your football games. So the Canes will not play this weekend as scheduled against Georgia Tech, and they will not play the following weekend against Wake Forest either, right? Schedule has been moved now. December 5th is the game against is it Georgia Tech, Paul?
It's Wake Forest on the 5th. All three games were moved. So it's the 5th, right. It's Wake Forest, the 12th, it's North Carolina, and 19th is Georgia Tech if that game has no implications on who plays in the championship game, which
is kind of weird. Right. Mm-hmm. So, listen, look, we've all been obviously affected by this pandemic, and we were kind of playing it off as it's the Hurricanes are doing such a great job. Look at this, man. We're in week 9, week 10 already, and still nothing. So that's awesome. But little by little, we started seeing the unavailability report, right? About 2 or 3 weeks ago, we started missing 6 or 7 guys, and then it went up to 11 guys 2 weeks ago, and now this past weekend we missed some big players. Both on the offensive line and the defensive line. 13 players were unavailable due to COVID, whether it's they contracted the disease or it was based off of contact tracing. And apparently, if it gets to over 30 players, you have to, I guess, postpone your games for at least a minimum of 14 days or 2 weeks. It's not like the SEC or Big 10 or Big 12. I know some of those conferences have up to 21 days where you need to be out. It seems like it's 2 weeks. And like you said, Paul, they rescheduled the football game. So what kind of effect is this going to have on the Miami Hurricanes as a whole? Is it going to be a positive? Is it going to be a negative? Obviously, Danny, we were talking offline and we were talking about how the holidays, I think, are going to affect this. Is this the last day? Is this the last time we're going to talk about a recap show, right? Is the season, could it ultimately be over? What's your take on what's going on and how we are going to see, are we going to see any more football from the ACC and from the Miami Hurricanes? Go ahead, Danny, you can start.
Like we kind of talked about, like you just said off air, I think, it all depends on how Thanksgiving goes. I mean, the players are going to go home to their families. They're going to spend time with their friends. And look, these are college kids. College kids don't make the smartest decisions. I was in college once. I wasn't exactly, a goody two-shoes either. So I don't see any I hope the games get played, but I would not be surprised if these dates for these rescheduled games are just placeholders and we don't end up seeing football. I hope that's not the case, but my gut feeling just tells me that we may not see any more games this season.
Unbelievable.
I just got out of practice.
Unbelievable, this guy.
I just got out of practice, man. I'm home. I just got home.
Yeah, it's deep. It's a running backs coach, Jakari Givens over here. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he's a Cobra. So that's fine, man. We're all good. Well, Jock, we were talking about.
I was backstage, but our host took so
Ah,
long.
yeah.
Oh.
And we were just giving Manny props, and now
Manny.
thank you forever.
So I heard everything.
Cool, man. Cool.
So to comment on the COVID situation, I mean it is what it is, but I kind of figured as Miami opened up that the kids were gonna start to get a little, I'm a freshman in college, and it only takes one guy, so it's that. But I think that Miami's gonna play the rest of the season. The game's moving back obviously kind of helped them, but I'm gonna just be honest with you. COVID is very serious, but some of these teams are gonna use this as an out not to play certain games, or it has to be a big starter. That's always when the COVID situation hit. That's why they don't disclose the names like that. Like you look at Maryland versus Ohio State. I just think Maryland had to be out without a big offensive starter for them to cancel the game, and it works. So hey, we have COVID issues. Let's not play this game because it helps. So Miami, it has to be a De'Aaron King, or you got to think about the guys who may have contracted the virus for them to say, you know what, let's push the games back 2 weeks. But the previous plan was for teams to play like 3 or 4 games, take a bye, get the COVID testing done, and then come back, play like in segments. So, I mean, overall, though, the ACC has done a pretty good job of, everything. So we can't really fault it. But, once Miami lifted the restrictions, you have kids there. It's not nothing you can blame on. Whoever they may deal with outside of football could have gave it to them. So you just never know. So it's the disease is like asymptomatic is probably the biggest thing.
That's the worst part. I think that's the worst one because you may not know you have it, right?
Yeah.
And you're
and
still
it's
a bunch of people.
That's the worst one. That's the worst one.
It's like you feel fine,
right?
You feel great, and then all of a sudden you go get tested. Oh, I have COVID.
Yep.
And now you've been practicing and playing, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
So we can't fault those guys for that. We have to just, take it what it is. This actually probably helps Miami because you're probably gonna get a lot of guys back that you wouldn't have had, and injuries and stuff like that. So it's just Miami just has a second bye week.
A third bye week and a fourth bye week too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like back-to-back weeks.
I mean, most schools have had that many bye weeks, so it doesn't matter. So
Wisconsin didn't play for like 2 or 3 weeks. So I mean,
I'm not upset about it. I know it sucks. You don't have Canes football this week and stuff like that, but overall,
but you know what? The health and safety is more important than anything.
So that's more important. You don't want to go infect another program, and the outbreak get bad. So take care of it now. Miami will probably be out for a week. They'll probably. I think everybody will come back fine, and that's it. Just take care of it now, and we rather this happen right now than them about to be playing the ACC championship game, and somebody get COVID. So now.
Jock, you bring up a good point. But you also mentioned something else, right? About some play, the teams and the games, bringing up excuses or reasons why not to play certain games. Maybe you have some big players that are going to be out. You're actually going to start seeing now. Here's what I think, right? And Paul, maybe you can kind of elaborate on this. Here's what I think. What you're going to see is you're going to see a lot of players. I think you're going to see a lot of maybe big time players that have played 4, 5, 6 games now, have some good numbers, have done well, might start opting out. Look, you even saw Javion Hawkins now, the running back for Louisville.
And J.C. Horn from South Carolina.
And J.C. Horn, right. That's the other guy. They decided to opt out now because they know kind of their draft stock is what it is.
Javion Hawkins is only a sophomore, so he can't get drafted.
No? Are you sure? Are you sure you can't?
Is he a red
He
shirt?
might be a red shirt.
I don't think Javion Hawkins should go out in the draft this year, even though the running back class is weak. I think he probably needs another year or so, but you never know. I mean, he can be transferring to another school, So, I mean, the running back class, this if you are a running back and you had decent numbers, this would be the draft class for you to come out because after Etienne and Harris, Who do you have?
Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard.
I don't think he's not gonna be good in the league though.
He's a stud right now.
Right, he's not.
The Oklahoma State guy.
Jazz,
you gotta stop. You gotta stop with that, bro.
Good. Listen,
you gotta
mark my words, Jazz. Mark my words. Remember this conversation on this day.
Okay.
Chuba Herbert will not be good in the NFL, brother. His skill set, it doesn't relate to the NFL.
All right. Well,
I'll put that on my calendar for when you said Justin Fields was not a good quarterback either. My calendar's filling up, Jock. That's all I'm saying. My calendar's.
Hey, listen, Danny, I'm gonna tell you this. Whatever offseason work Justin Fields put in, he looks way better than he did last year. He was missing throws. He missed the biggest throw of his career against Clemson. Guy was wide open, so we gotta kind of, take it as it is. But I'm just saying, if you're running back this year like a Cam Harris is a senior, right? I think, correct?
He's junior.
He's a junior.
He should.
Junior.
This is a good year for a back to declare. It's only you got Jazz. You can name me 3 guys after ETN. You say Chuba Herbert and Najee Harris from Alabama. It's a toss-up of guys, so it's just a good year.
Yeah.
But you brought up a good point. I think that's a major point, a valid point. I think after you got your numbers, you should opt out. Why hurt your draft stock to continue playing? I think like the coronavirus doesn't affect Clemson as much as it would Miami. If De'Aaron King got COVID, we would be in trouble.
Oh, they're screwed. I'm not gonna lie, they're screwed.
Like with Clemson, it was okay for them to play because they have a guy who is no drop off between those 2 guys. Like it's
not a huge drop off. Yeah,
it's not huge. So.
Yeah, you're right. So I mean, so Paul, do you think you're gonna see guys come back from this 2-week break? Maybe and I hate to say it, but maybe a guy like Jalen Phillips or even a guy like Quincy Roche. Those are the guys that kind of come to mind first and foremost, just because Phillips has had a really good year. Roche's had a pretty solid year,
but
and they're guys that are draftable. They're guys that are draftable.
But to add to your point, I think with Hawkins and Horn, their teams are not good. So I think that also.
Yeah, I agree. That definitely played a factor.
Miami still can technically play for something if you understand what I'm saying, Paul. Like they have, a lot in front of them.
Oh yeah, but I think I kind of accepted that not even just in sports, but in life, that people got to do what's best for themselves. As much as we would have liked, all the juniors from last year's team that left early. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to have Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson, all those guys. It'd be nice, but honestly, they have families to feed. They have to feed themselves. And especially like Jazzy, you brought up Jalen Phillips. I mean, Phillips right now is balling out. Like he won ACC Defensive End of the Week 2 weeks in a row. He even won the Bednarik award for this past week. And it's you really got to put into perspective. Like there's 2 things to consider. One is, will playing out the rest of the season really, really improve my draft stock by that much? And 2, also, it's just like it's also a family thing, like it's like you guys mentioned that all it takes is just one chance encounter with someone that's infected to contract it, and you being asymptomatic and not even knowing that you have it and spreading it to other people. And especially like you mentioned with kind of this now where players are going to go home to their families for Thanksgiving, I mean, they discourage big family gatherings for Thanksgiving, but still they're gonna gather. They're gonna
it's people gonna do what they want to do. So
it's gonna happen.
Yeah, so
exactly.
You can't fault them. For a whole 2020, we've been in the house, so it's like it's gonna be a battle with that.
I mean, this year's been a long mental battle for everyone. Let's just be real. So, I mean, it's definitely something to consider. I mean, at this point, I can speak from a Miami fan perspective, but at the end of the day, I would just want these guys to do what they feel like is best for them. If they're good football players, they're good football players. They'll get drafted and they'll find their way in the league. It's as simple as that. I think that. At this point, we should just kind of consider just the longevity of our lives.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, because it affects everybody differently. Like
Yeah.
like I can have it and and not get any bad things happen to me, but it's people who are getting this disease and literally, it's affecting them, and you never know what's gonna happen. So it's just, I think Miami did the right thing, shutting it down, get everything in order. Like I said, it's gonna be an uphill battle in Florida regardless, just because we don't have the strictest of.
And the governor said, DeSantis said he's not going to close down the state no matter what. Like, Philadelphia, you see Philadelphia kind of putting some orders in place, and Chicago and Illinois.
I'll play devil's advocate here.
Yeah,
I do feel like this. I feel like the people should have the option to do what they want. Like the mask, I think if you're gonna go out, you should have on a mask. Like it shouldn't be no, I don't have no. You should wear your mask for the safety of others. So, but do I feel like when I go home to my family, I haven't seen them. I'm just talking about the guys who been in Miami, like Jalen Phillips, for instance, who's been in Miami for what? We're in November, so the season started in August. I mean, like he's been in camp since August. Right. I haven't seen my family since August. It's 3-4 months. And
he's got to go all the way back to California.
Yeah. Coming from the experience, it's not like I'm speaking from experience. Like, when you come back home in November for Thanksgiving or December break, or after the bowl game, like how excited you are just to see your family, and
not only your family, Jock. Be honest, like your homeboys, your friends, everybody, because you're not just gonna chill at home. You might go out somewhere and hang out, right?
Correct. And it's like, it's not the same. Obviously, you got the camaraderie with your teammates, but it's not the same as going back to the kids you played in with high school. Like that's the most purest form of fun you had. Like you were making jokes even if you were getting your ass beat, in the game. So it's just like, you have fun, and it's just not the same. So do I feel like the kids who playing football, they have to be adults right now and make the best decision for themselves? Is it more important for you to go to that party, or is it more important for me to just stay home, relax? The season's almost over. We got new developments of vaccines or whatever may be going on. I don't know how long COVID's gonna last. I don't know. I'm not God. I'm not a predictor of anything. But
look, but I hate to turn it into that conversation, but it is what it is, right? Like, what? Before maybe a lot of us would have been hesitant about taking a vaccine and being like, hell no, I'm not gonna take no dumbass vaccine. But now, like, you start to see, other things come out, and the cases starting to rise again. Like, hey, you know what?
And the athletes,
95% effective rate, maybe.
The athletes are gonna be offered the vaccine first.
Yeah.
To play a sport, to have the fans in the arena, they're gonna be offered that first, just because they're the stakeholders. Like, hey, those owners are okay with playing on TV, but they're pissed off those fans now in the stands. Like, you think about a team like Michigan who packs 100,000 in the stadium, probably making close to 40, 50, 60 mil on game day. Now they're cutting that cost by zero. Like,
not only that, right? That's a college town, right? Ann Arbor, but so is Blacksburg, who makes their money off of Virginia Tech playing. And look, I mean, regardless of what you want to say, and obviously we're going to get into this now in about a minute or so, because I would definitely want to recap Virginia Tech Miami, but that stadium feeds off of its 80,000 people or 60,000 people. However many people are in there with Enter Sandman and all that craziness. That's what they feed off of. Texas A&M, College Station, the same thing.
And
right?
And it's not like we're dealing with pros. Pros is different. Like, I can block the crowd out as a pro.
Yeah.
In college, that's what you thrive off of. Like, man, you out there, you see all the kids and stuff. But that win by Miami and Virginia Tech, I don't know how we dropped to 12. I guess they knew about COVID and we didn't. But
man, look, here's another issue that I have, and I have a confession to make. I was listening to Joe Sagaki and Don Bailey on the way in, and they brought up some really good points. And Jock, Paul, Danny, all of you will elaborate on this, but. Talking about a lot of people are concerned about the defense and giving up so many yards and giving up so many points. Let me put it in perspective before you go, John, because I can see you. I can see you chomping at the bit, wanting to talk about this. Let me put it in perspective, right? Miami defense is allowing right now 389.4 yards per game, something along those lines. Okay, they're 47th in the country. They're giving up 24 points a game. Where do you think? And this is perspective. I'm not saying we are this team, but where do you think Alabama is on that? Where do you think Alabama is? Alabama is giving up 389.2 yards per game, and they're giving up 22 points per game. So let's just put it in perspective, right? It's not a defensive game anymore.
It's an
college football.
Game.
It's offensive driven game. Absolutely.
Nick Saban came on. I think he was on a podcast. I think so. And he said it. It's about who has the best offense and what defense can get stops and when it's needed.
And we've been able to do that, right? Let's be honest. We've been able to do that. Okay?
And 2 back-to-back games, Miami were able to get stops. They got it on. They got it. DJ Ivey made a big play against NC State. Miami was able to get the ball back. Torrey Couch, who had a phenomenal game, made the play. And that's it. Like, we can't keep harping on is the defense good and all that. I mean,
they're not bad. They're not bad football.
But the offense, the game is made for the offense right now. Like, it's legit made for them to move up and down the field. It's a tempo game. But what is Miami doing? They're bending but not breaking. They're not giving up. When Miami's defense has needed to step up in every game this year, they have. They played bad in one game this whole year, and that's the game they lost, which was Clemson.
And who do you want to be, right, Jock? Who do you want to be? You want to be Pitt, who has the number 9 has the number 9 defense in the country, but they've lost 4 games in a row?
Yeah.
Or do you want to be?
Offense is atrocious. So
exactly.
So
who do you want to be?
And the way Miami wants to play on offense is going to hurt the defense regardless. Because if the offense is scoring 35, 40 points, that means the defense is going to be on the field.
Sure.
For more possessions, but I don't see I think Miami is fine. I think the defense is good. They made plays when they need it. Like we got to talk about how great Torrey Couch was.
Torrey Couch, yeah.
Torrey, I'm sorry, how great he was. He came in. He really
the Chihuahua baby, the Chihuahua.
He's a bulldog now.
He really surprised me with his ability to tackle. Like, I was very shocked by. That he was coming up. He made some big plays in the run game. And just his ability to cover. I like the kid. I've been telling people, all year that he was going to be the best guy. Just because I've seen some of his tape before. But, yeah, I think Miami's on fine on defense. The offense made plays. Let's talk about Mark Pope. He hit his slant route. He caught the ball, and he was able to go. So I think that Miami fans should be happy with where they're at. They're 7-1. We're 7-1. Our only loss is to the former number 1 team in the nation. We all know they're the best team.
Yeah.
They play Notre Dame again. We all would bet our money on Clemson. So, I think we should be all right with that. I think Miami is right where they need to be because I see Florida's going to lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game. We can book that. We can book that.
Yo, man.
That defense they got at Florida ain't stopping nothing. All right. We got Notre Dame. Notre
Dame is going to drop one, maybe the UNC or something, right?
They're going to drop again. Miami's in a good position. Like, you can't fire. Like, to me, it's only two for sure fire teams right now who I can say is going to be in the game, and that's Ohio State and that's Alabama. That's the only 2 teams I can say, okay, like right now, they're going to – and Clemson's going to be there.
And Clemson.
I think
that 4 spot is still for grabs, right?
Miami's 7-1 in a great spot. They have 3 winnable games. Hopefully, we don't play the Georgia Tech game, because we're in the ACC championship game. I hope so. But what would you want to be right now, Jazz? Like, Paul, Johnny, what would you want to be as a team? The defense is good. The offense is good. The only thing we haven't seen is a game where they put it all together. Like, we haven't had a running game in 3 games.
Yeah, it's been a while.
The running game was a little bit better last week, but the wide receivers are starting to step up. D. Wiggins had 8 catches for over 100 yards. Mark Pope had the biggest play of the game, right, which was that touchdown, that 50-yarder. everybody is putting it together. But you guys can kind of elaborate on that and talk about the offense a little bit, because I'm excited about the offense. Listen, man, no matter what, it's hard to go to Virginia Tech missing 13 guys. A couple starters on both ends.
You were
win.
down in the game.
And down, yeah, that was big.
I mean, consider this, that I think there were inklings that Miami did even just consider not even playing the game. They were that depleted to the point where they were in a great position to play the game, but missing 4 defensive linemen, 5 offensive linemen. I mean, I wouldn't have been mad if Devon Donaldson had to play, but I mean, he was there. But just for them to be that depleted to go to Donaldson is big. Honestly, I agree with Jock's points. I mean, I think realistically, looking at the schedule in the preseason, the only game that we thought Miami could not win was Clemson, but they've been winning every single conference game. I mean, they've been winning every winnable game, which is very, very important. And honestly, just considering the circumstances, the roster, it's Manny as a second year. I mean, I'll admit I tend to be picky about how they've been winning, but they've been winning. They've been winning.
But take a look. But check this out, though, Jack. Every championship team, if you go look at the games they played, besides that 2013 Florida State team, I thought was a dominant team where they just blew everybody out. But if you look at some of the games, when Cam Newton won the national title at Auburn, all his games were close. They didn't win they didn't have any blowouts like that. They had probably 1 or 2 blowouts, and that was against the FCS school and I think 1 SEC school. But the rest of the games were tight. If you look down the stretch, any past champions, they played close games. Is to win a championship, I know it's about the Jimmys and Joes and the X's and O's, but it comes down, the ball has to fall your way. Everything got to go your way.
Man, even in 2000, even in back in the day in 2000, and the Canes still had to pull one out against Boston College. I mean, that's how it is.
So good teams will find a way to win the ugly games.
Absolutely.
That's how it goes, because if we blew everybody out, Alabama ran into that problem against Clemson in the national title. They blowed everybody out, and then they finally got in the game where the game was close, and the team didn't know how to respond. So we're happy with the progress in Miami, because last year we were losing these same games.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We were blowing games to FIU and
Central
Louisiana
Michigan.
Tech. We didn't score against Louisiana Tech. I didn't even watch that game. Thank God I didn't watch that game.
Jazz, how you feel about the rumblings of Lashley becoming a head coach?
We all knew that was going to happen, right? Jock, you talked about it a lot. Paul, you talked about it a lot. How this could be the only season that Rhett Lashlee is the offensive coordinator. It's how do I feel about it? Do I want to see him leave? No. I think he does stay another year or two. I mean, he's saying all the right things, but they always do, right? Coaches always say the right things and say he's never had more fun coaching a football team than he has with this team. He's been through a lot with them, and obviously it looks like it's all starting to come together. So he's very excited about this football program. But do I see him leave? Honestly speaking, I think he's got another year or two here.
His comments today made me think, but you never know. You can be a guy, like I said, Brent Venables makes what? I think we talked about it the last
2.3 million.
2.3 million. Cristobal makes 2.4 million with less headache, because all Venables got to do is recruit and coach defense. Some guys, if Lashley may be comfortable just being the offensive coordinator, you just never know. But in Miami, because you can't beat that. And Miami's paying you $1.5 to $2 million a year to be an offensive coordinator. You living in Miami, you can't turn that down. So now, if Michigan offers you a coaching job, of course you take that job. Well, they're gonna pay you X amount of dollars to come be the guy. So yes,
I mean, like you said, I mean, are you going to compare like some of the other jobs like South Carolina? I mean, it's a good job. It's an SEC program, yes, but you can't compare it to Michigan. You can't compare it to some of the other even the Big Ten schools or whatever. Obviously there's other coaches out there that they're talking to, like Luke Fickell and who's done an amazing job at Cincinnati, right? Who has that,
and they can
killing
say
it
what
right
they
now.
want, but dollars matter. So if a team is gonna pay me $10 million a year to be the head coach,
You'd be stupid not to do it. You'd be stupid not to do it.
Yeah.
No problem.
You know, and listen, if South Carolina calls Rhett Lashlee and tells him, "Hey, $6 million a year over 5 years," you'd be kind of stupid not to do that, right? I mean, it's
pretty good.
It is what it is, and I wouldn't blame him. But if you're talking about a lateral move from not only from a money perspective, but from a position perspective, if he decides to go somewhere else just to be, another offensive coordinator or something like that, it doesn't make any sense. So that's why I think that we have at least another year or two with him here to kind of develop the program. Maybe listen, maybe there's a guy like Rob Likens or something like that, or Garen Justice, who was the offensive coordinator at UNLV before he took the job here in Miami. Maybe he's setting it up, and that's what we kind of need. We need more guys than just Lashlee that know how to run this offense, and maybe he's doing that with Likens.
I kind of feel that way anyway. I kind of feel like Miami kind of went and got the coaches to, like they know Lashlee was a hire, but he was a bridge hire because they know he was going somewhere. So I just feel like Miami brought in so many guys, like the offensive line coach Likens, who's also has experience as an OC.
Right.
They brought him in. So I just feel like the staff is there. And if you look at Likens has been just a receivers coach. I think he tried his one stint at OC, but he's never tried to be a head coach. Some guys just want to be in that, in that role.
They're good for that role. Like they're excellent at that role.
The Bud Fosters of the world, the Brent Venables of the world, those guys, and that's fine.
Those guys got offered so many head coaching jobs, but it's just like, hey, why leave when I can just stay here?
I'm doing a great job already,
Living a good life, man. Recruiting hard, working hard, but like at the end of the day, man, you know what you're good at, and
because being a head coach, like let's just be honest, man, it's tough.
It's not as fun as people think it is, man. Yeah, it's not all it's made out to be.
For everyone, like you're the first person they call when somebody get in trouble. So I agree. Like I said, I just think Lashlee may leave, but if it's for a mid-conference job, I don't think he leaves for that because it doesn't make any business sense.
Yep.
And it's kind of interesting to see when you take a look at the game of football. People want these young, kind of sort of creative offensive minds.
Energetic guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Just up here in Massachusetts, the game that Boston College played against Clemson, when they were winning, of course, not the final product, but that kind of opened up a lot of eyes toward Jeff Hafley, and he just got to Boston College, and all over Twitter, all the writers are saying, "Oh, if I'm Jeff Hafley, I definitely have some jobs lined up." Blah blah blah. And Jeff Hafley signed to a 5-year contract. So it's not a question of it's a question of young coaches who can get offenses moving and who have a good pedigree to get the job done. Do I think Hafley will last 5 years at Boston College? No, but it just speaks to the type of coaching staff and the type of coaches that this game wants, and I think it's not just in the ACC and in terms of Miami, but all around the league too. People are looking for that next, Sean McVay or whatever.
Look, and let's be honest, right? How many coaches stick around? I mean, how many coaches stick around more than 4 or 5 years anywhere? I mean, you're looking at, if you're going to talk about Nick Saban and Dabo, yeah, I mean, but they're in the Mecca, right? That's the Mecca of college football. There's nowhere else to go but there, right?
You look at the guy from Arkansas State, Gary Anderson, like he won't ever leave that because he's comfortable there. Matt Campbell from Iowa State, I don't think he will leave either because I think he's
starting to get some offers. I mean, he's starting to get some looks.
I think he had the Ohio State job, and I think they would have gave him the job had he been interested in it, but I don't think he was ever interested.
You know what, Jock? And maybe he won't leave right now like a Gary Anderson guy. Because look at some of the other guys like Peterson, right? They take their time. It might take them longer.
The real reason why those guys don't leave is because it's pressure. It's pressure to win at certain schools. Like, it's easy for me to go be a coach at say like Brian Kelly won't lead Notre Dame because Notre Dame is just happy winning 8 to 10 games. Their fan base is
good. Let them do that. Perfect.
Yeah, their fan base is ecstatic. Like at Alabama, you know how hard it is to probably coach. Like at Alabama, year in year out, your fan base is expecting you. Your donors are expecting you to compete for national titles.
If it's not Nick Saban there, it's Dabo Swinney. That's it. That's how I think. I feel like if Dabo Swinney's going to go anywhere when Nick Saban retires, it's Alabama.
I'm just saying, it's a lot of pressure being at those schools. Those guys, like when Urban Meyer comes back to coach USC, it's no pressure at USC because it's no, like, they don't expect to win. When they're winning, they're winning. But, you know, you can just look that they don't expect to win because look how long this guy has been the coach, and they haven't been good. Like, they've been okay.
Gary Patterson's another one. Gary Patterson's not going to go anywhere because he knows.
No, he's a good coach.
He is a good coach, but the pressure for him to go to another place, TCU, he's fine there. Yeah, too much pressure.
Texas is the pressure is on every year because we're expecting this and that, but like it's okay to not want that pressure. It's okay to be able to know, like, you know, I'm gonna probably have a down year this year and I can't, you know, I'm not gonna have the best team and it'd be okay with your fan base. But imagine being at Alabama and you Nick Saban and you know that this team is not gonna be as good as the other teams. And like Urban Meyer figured that out. Like he knew when he was not gonna have a good team. And remember his last year in Florida, he knew he wasn't gonna have a good team. And see what he did? Called it quits.
Dipped.
Yep. That's the way it is, man. Anyways, guys, I think maybe we will catch everybody on the flip side here for maybe in the next couple of days. We'll do a recruiting update with one of the guys from Canes Insight or 24/7 Sports. You know, obviously we don't have a game this weekend, so we'll really do a deep dive into some recruiting, talk about some players. I know that, you know, these kind of things, right? The landscape of college football is constantly changing. Obviously the virus has changed the way we do recruiting as well. So I think it's important to bring up those things because a lot of kids stay closer to home now. We're starting to see it already. And that could affect the way the Miami Hurricanes recruit from here on out as well, and other schools all over the country. So we definitely want to get that take from some of our recruiting guys, our recruiting gurus that we've had on the past couple of weeks. Go over some of that and still talk some Canes football and see what we can kind of dig up there. But this was fun. I love talking about other college programs and what's going on in the landscape of NCAA, and that's what we'll do here on the Sixth Ring as well. And hopefully we'll get some more guys on for Thursday or Friday. So with that being said, any last parting shots or anything? When do the Cobras play again? Jock, when the South Miami
Friday at 2 p.m.
Friday at 2 p.m.
We 3-0, baby.
That's right, baby. So if you're a degenerate and you want to go see some high school football at 2:00 in the afternoon, hey man, go out there to Tropical Park.
No, we're not at Tropical.
Where we at?
Miami Springs, I think.
Oh my! Or is that who we're playing? Miami Springs. Yeah. I can say is that who we're playing because I am a fellow South Miami Cobra. So I can say that.
So if you don't have a job or whatever,
we got a lunch break, man. Lunch break.
Damn.
If you work in Hialeah or Miami Springs and you got a lunch break, go out there, man. Go watch the Cobras. Take it, baby. With what's his name? Tavares Miller. What's the kid's name? There. He's a stud, huh? Is he a baller or what?
No, he's a good kid. I like him. He's gonna play at the next level D1. He got a lot of talent.
Does he have a legit offer from Miami or no?
No, he doesn't have a legit offer from Miami. I think he's on their board.
Right.
We'll see how that goes. He is a defensive back, so
God knows
let's
we need
see how that goes. I don't, maybe a Canes player, but y'all can come to practice whenever y'all want, coaches. I got some guys for y'all.
Hey, listen, little fun fact. Last legit cornerback to come out of South Miami, aside from Jock Givens, Pat Robinson. Fun fact. Pat Rob.
Leggett was out there now.
Come on, man. Come on. I don't even want to get into Leggett right now because I got a story for you. I don't even want to get into that. Man. Anyways, yeah, he's my guy too. Okay, all right. Yeah, ask him who took him to his first combine and he won defensive player of the combine, of the the little event that he did.
Hey,
Ask him who took him. Ask him who took him to the National Underclassmen Combine. All right.
My boy Jazz is a passionate guy. I was in the press box with him, and he's like, "Man, come on, what is this shit, man?"
Yeah. All right. I don't want to talk about AJ Leggett. Damn it. Anyways.
Oh God.
Yeah, you see. Oh God.
I remember that name. I forgot about that name. Oh my God.
Jock switches commitment more than I switch my underwear. All right, man. Get out of here with that. I don't want to talk about that guy. Don't let me get passionate about this crap. Jesus Christ. I love you guys. Danny Gillette, Paul Austria, Jock Givens. Take it easy, fellas. Go Canes. Let's go.
Okay. Thank you, Manny. Don't
get out of here. Get out of here, you knucklehead. Later, guys.